Greetings, everyone. This is the Hipster Snek, and today, much to my own surprise, we're doing another Snekflix. Yes, this is because I had forgotten and then rediscovered that there was a movie made about the Exit 8, a game that I covered on the channel not too long ago. So I sat down and I watched it, and for those who are looking for a one-word sentence kind of review, it's good. It's interesting. It's devoid of pretension. It's briskly paced. It sets up the concept. It gets into the adaptation of the game, but it peppers a little extra in that you wouldn't find by playing the game by itself. It is both a good adaptation and a good movie on its own. The interesting thing about this movie, in some very interesting artistic choices, first of all, no one has a name. Yeah, that's super weird, I know, but no one in the movie has a given name. No one. The lead character, played by Kazunari Ninomiya, is just credited as Lost Man. The guy, the walking man that you see who loops through the hallway into Exit 8 is just credited as Walking Man. So, like, no one has a name. And the other thing that I think is really interesting about this film is it's quiet. It is a very quiet movie. There's several instances where the characters are saying nothing, or they're just listening to something, or they are kind of like mumbling under their breath. And not only is it very true to the game in that respect, because the game itself could become deafeningly quiet at times, but I think it's just a really interesting way to take the film. You see, it starts with Lost Man. I don't know what else to call him. He's just the Lost Man on a packed subway car. And he gets a call from his ex-girlfriend, recent ex based on context, and she tells him that she's pregnant. And she asks him, what are we going to do about this? And he basically gives her a non-answer of, well, I don't know, but I'm coming to see you. She's in the hospital at present, so he's going to go there and they're going to talk about it. And the intro to the movie is really brilliant because it ties everything kind of around this theming. Like, there's this mother on the train who is credited as Mother on Train, surprise, who has a screaming child. And this guy starts giving her the third degree, just screaming at her about how obnoxious it is that she would bring a baby onto the busy rush hour train, etc., etc. And Lost Man, our protagonist, kind of just ignores it as hard as he can. And he gets off at the station and starts moving. And they do a really brisk credit scroll. I'm talking maybe 3 or 5 minutes long. And before he realizes that he is in the context of the Exit 8. And he kind of blunders through the first couple loops, not really realizing what's happening, because he's just like, oh, well, I need to keep heading this direction, and I'll just get to the end. It'll be fine. Well, it takes him a while, and he misses some pretty obvious anomalies, because he doesn't know the rules just yet. And then eventually he realizes he's going in loops, and he finds the signboard that explains the rules of the game, quote-unquote game in this context, I guess. And he reads them, starts putting it together, and starts trying. And the thing that's really great is he tries to be smart about it. He takes out his phone, he tries to take pictures, then when he goes into the next loop, the pictures are corrupted. So, like, he's trying to come up with a strategy, he's trying to work around his limitations, and he starts realizing right away, okay, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm not looking for. And the thing that's actually really cool is they allow him to make some mistakes throughout. Like, he gets sent back to zero a couple times because of, well, different circumstances happen. And it's just really, really interesting. And the theming of life changes being tied into this uncertainty and this creepy looping environment where nothing is exactly what it seems, and little things happen, and then sometimes really big things happen. It's all brilliantly executed. And the thing I felt the entire time that I was watching it is like, this is honestly a better Backrooms movie than the Backrooms was. Someone called me out in the comments on that, and honor dictates I acknowledge this verbally, that I was wrong about the hand prop. And I must have been looking at it wrong, or I don't know, I just maybe didn't get a good look at it like I thought I had. It's not inverted. I was wrong on that, but it was one of many things that irritated me about the film. Now, putting that aside, now that I've acknowledged both this and that, we're going to move into the spoiler section, and I'm going to go a little bit more in depth about the second half of the film.
Warning. It is a non-stop spoiler onslaught going forward. Abandon all pretenses, ye who enter here.
So the Lost Man continues looping and trying to make heads or tails of his situation. And the thing that's really cool is basically every anomaly that he runs into is something that you can encounter in the game. It's really, it's sort of like what should have happened in the Mortuary Assistant movie, where that one was just kind of like trying to cram as much as possible. This one happens very organically because the loop allows a certain degree of pacing. And speaking of pacing, the story does something really interesting because it does something the game doesn't have the context to do, where you get a little bit of a time rewind and you actually see what happened to the walking man, who we started calling Frank for the sake of our playthrough, the guy who walks the opposite direction of you in the game. It turns out he was a person once, and he meets this little boy, who is the boy, and they start trying to work together to try to get out. And he's rapidly losing his patience and kind of like coming undone at the seams. And he meets this girl. In his version, it's not an older man walking opposite him, it's a girl. And it's just passerby is what she's credited as. So, passerby eventually, in one of his loops, stops and interrupts him. And she starts saying, "Oh, I'm lost. I don't know where I'm going. Could you help me?" And he's like, yeah, the three of us should probably stick together, and we can probably figure this out if we all work together. And, he's doing the very polite Japanesey thing. He's trying his best for the situation. And as they get to talking, she kind of starts coming unhinged herself and starts saying, like, "Oh, man, isn't it weird? Like, you're complaining that this place keeps looping, but at the same time, isn't that what you're doing in your day-to-day life? Isn't that exactly the same thing? Because you get on a train, you go to work, you get on a train, you go home, only to get on a train and go to work again." And the walking man is just kind of like off-put by this, and he's like, "Well, no." He gives a very half-hearted rebuttal. And as passerby is like tweaking out, her voice shifts into his, and she starts speaking with the voice of the walking man. And he starts getting freaked out. He's like, we gotta go. And so he takes the boy, and they kind of just like leg it. And as he gets away from her, he runs into a false exit, which is a known anomaly from the game. He wasn't at floor 8 yet. He just saw a way out and decided, oh, this must be it. And the entire time the boy is like pulling on his arm and is like trying to get him to literally do anything but go. And so of course the guy goes. And the boy retreats the other direction, knowing full well it's an anomaly. And at that point, the story shifts back to the present, and we go back to the Lost Man, our original protagonist. And so we realize that people who kind of give into despair or are baited by these false exits kind of become part of the looping process. And they're dragged into all of this and become part of this system. However the system works isn't really addressed. It's just there. So the Lost Man and the boy meet, and they get to talking, or rather, the boy doesn't speak for a good bit of the film. He's quiet and only expresses himself non-verbally, and they work together to try to start parsing the inconsistencies and the anomalies of each loop. And along the way, one of the anomalies, the boy mentions he's looking for his mom. As they go through the hallway, there's this woman in the hallway, and the Lost Man's immediately like, "Nope, this is an anomaly. This is bad. We need to get out of here." The boy's like, "That's my mom." And Lost Man is like, we gotta go. This is dangerous. If you go to her, who knows what'll happen? So he like basically forcibly restrains the boy, who's like kind of starts just losing his mind. And at this point, as she starts talking to him, and the whole thing is like the anomaly of the boy's mother is the same as the Lost Man's ex-girlfriend. So he pulls the boy to safety forcibly, and when the boy passes out from the stress, and when he comes to, the two start talking, and the boy is like, yeah, I actually got separated from my mom on purpose because I desperately wanted her to come find me. And I'm like, one, that's super freaking sad and heartbreaking, honestly. Uh, and the Lost Man's like, yeah, no, I kind of get it, honestly. And they work together for a while, and they're hit by this wall of water, which is one of the anomalies I ran into, which was really funny for me because that one scared me as much as it scared them. And they get separated, and the Lost Man has this dream, I guess might be the right word for it, where he's on the beach with his ex-girlfriend and the boy a couple years in the future. And it's not subtle. Like, it's not subtle at all. Like, of all the things I was not expecting in a movie adaptation of The Exit 8 was a commentary on Japan's declining birth rates. Like, the general sense of go forth and have babies is not subtle in this film at all, especially because a baby's crying is repeatedly used as an anomalous sound and a recurring motif throughout. And initially it scares the Lost Man every time it happens, and then there's this bit where like one of the anomalies is these rats, and they have human body parts growing on their backs. Like they have like one's an ear, one's an eye, one's a mouth, and they all start like screaming, and they sound like small babies crying and screaming coming out of these rats, and it freaks him out. So he runs like to be honest, that would freak me out too, so I get it. uh Really good work on the practical effects, and the CG all look really, really good. I was genuinely impressed. I expected this to be much lower budget, but it actually surprised me in a very good way. And there's some really great tension, and like I said, I wasn't expecting it to be about, uh, oh yeah, go out, have babies, repopulate Japan. So the water event separates the Lost Man and the boy, and you actually see the boy exit the complex first. And then, a short time afterward, the Lost Man finally gets his bearings together and is able to actually complete the 8 loops, and he escapes. And he kind of has this moment where he's just like reflecting on what just happened. And he calls his ex-girlfriend again, and he's like, hey, I'm sorry I got held up, but I'm going to be there really soon. And she's like, well, what's your decision? And he's like, I'll tell you when I'm there. And he gets on the next train to leave the station, and the situation from the prologue of the film starts playing out again, where there's a mother on the train holding a screaming baby, and there's a man who starts, getting really, really incensed and screaming at her. And at first, it looks like Lost Man's going to ignore it. And at the very last shot of the film, he takes a hard turn to the side to approach the screaming man. And that's where the movie ends. And it's actually, I think, a really brilliant way to show that in this context, he is going to break the loop. He's going to start doing things differently. And I think it's actually kind of a really beautiful metaphor, the way they executed it, because it goes from, you can keep trying the same things over and over again, but you're just going to keep going in a loop, akin to the game mechanics. Or you can take some kind of decisive action, deliberately make a change, and you will see a different outcome. I thought this was really good. It's short. It is literally like an hour and a half on the nose. It is a short by comparison to the 2 hour summer blockbusters that we're kind of used to getting now. It's earnest. It's to the point. It's a good adaptation of a game. It is a good story told well, and some really interesting visual metaphor besides. The anomalies were a ton of fun. There's some really creative work on this. One of my favorite ones is when the Lost Man's going down the hallway, the posters all like slowly turn to like watch where he's going. And then when he starts second guessing himself, he goes back the other way and they turn to keep looking at him. It's like they did that really, really well. I was really impressed with the CG on this. So, yeah, it's on YouTube. You guys can go watch it right now if you feel like it, and I think you should. I think if anything I said sounds even remotely interesting, please go check it out. I think you guys will really like this one if you enjoyed my playthrough of the game. This has been the Hipster Snek, and thank you for listening to me ramble again. And I'll see you guys next time.